Okay. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktivedanta Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Okay, so two shlokas. Today 10.6 and 10.7. So the chapter is the opulence of the absolute. So here the Lord actually is explaining, showing to Arjuna, discussing about his power, opulences like beauty, grandeur, or sublimity, and in this either in the spiritual world or material world, um, and some detail about his partial manifestations of Lord Krishna, who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and Lord has many expansions and incarnations for different leelas, for different purposes. All that. So, but Lord Sri Krishna is the supreme cause of all causes. This is what the chapter um, gives detail, and he's the support of everything. He's absolute truth. So it's like he's sum total of everything. Everything is dependent on him. He is independent, and he is the original personality from whom everything else comes. So Krishna is the supreme object of worship for all beings because he's the supreme personality of Godhead, and he says some details about his opulences. So I'll just recite this shloka. Maharishaya sapta purve chatvaro manavas tata madbhava manasa jata yesham loka imaha prajaha. The seven translation, but seven great sages, and before them the four other great sages and the Manus, progenitors of mankind, come from me, born from my mind, right? Born from my mind. And all the living beings populating the various planets descend from them. So, sometimes science fiction movies, if somebody has watched any movies in the past or anything, so they are just speculating and showcasing that there are alien life and all that. But here, Sri Krishna is saying he is the source of everything, no matter whether it is Earth planet, higher planets, heavenly planets, lower planets, Patala, and all that. Not only in this universe, in every universe, he is the source of everything. And all living beings, wherever there is population of whatever kind of living beings it is, um, from him, he is the source of everything. And there's some detail, the sages and all that. So how all this creation and population of the planets happens. So the next one is 10.7. Etam vibhutim yogam cha mam yo vetti tatvataha. So avikalpena yogena yujyate natara samshaya. Translation: one is factually convinced of this opulence and mystic power of mind, engages in unalloyed devotional service. Of this, there is no doubt. So even in our life here on this earthly planet, we see that we come across somebody who's very um, good in something. We kind of are enamored by that personality. So we are impressed, very impressed, and we can't stop thinking about that person. So again, let's say you've seen that somebody who is a great actor, a very well-known film star or anything, people actually are have a different opinion about them. They're like can't stop thinking about that person. Even some musicians, you see, or somebody who's very rich and famous, um, or somebody is very beautiful. Um, People talk about it. Magazines talk about it. Newspapers talk about it. News channels talk about it. And so Krishna somewhere in he has also mentioned that um, anybody who has any kind of beauty or any of the opulence or to whatever level, people like life here is temporary, material. We have material bodies and will not last long. Whether somebody makes, large amount of money or is very beautiful, he or she is very beautiful or has some skill, it is very limited. But Krishna's opulences, he's the source of everything. All opulences come from him, and he is eternal. He is spiritual. He is Bhagwan. So he never changes. He's eternal, and he's independent. He's not dependent. Whereas others who take material body, they're dependent on him directly, indirectly, and life on this planet or any other material planet in this world temporary. In higher planetary systems, maybe people live for long, they enjoy for long their senses. So that is how it is. Okay, let's get into detail. So today's description, discourse, or whatever detail I get into, it will be based on what Srila Prabhupada has mentioned in Bhagavad-gītā, as it is, and somewhere else. And His Holiness Srila Jayapataka Goswami Maharaj, he has given some examples, beautiful examples, his use and his time he spent with Srila Prabhupada, some questions he had in the beginning and he asked, and he got these examples, and his and whatever he has learned. Some beautiful examples he has given. So I'll share that. And his grace, Chaitanya Charan Prabhu, he gives classes, Bhakti Shastri classes also. So it's based on all that. So here Lord Krishna describes how all the inhabitants of this world come from him. The most important is emphasis is that he's the source of everything, right? Everything comes from him. So the root of all is Lord Krishna. And Srimad Bhagavatam goes into more detail, extensive detail about this process of creation. So here Lord Krishna is giving a genealogical synopsis of the universal population. He explains it like this. In this universe, Lord Brahma is the original creature born out of the energy of the Supreme Lord, Vishnu, who is known as Hiranyagarbha. And so this form of the God, this form of God that is responsible for administrating the material creation. Next, from Lord Brahma, were manifested the following living beings. Four great sages first. These are Sanaka, Sananda, Sanatana, and Sanat Kumara. So they are also known as the four Kumaras. So they're very learned, and Srimad Bhagavatam is, and other places, other scriptures also have a lot of stories and experiences and exchanges of what they their experience, their knowledge, and their interaction with the Lord. So then is Lord Rudra. Then came the seven great sages: Marich, Angira, Atri, Pulastya, Pulaha, Kratu, and Vashishta. Then the 14 Manus, progenitors of mankind. So there's detail about who these 14 Manus are, and they were empowered with the task of procreation of the human population. So this is coming from the scriptures, and scriptures give proper and complete detail, unlike in school, which we were taught about Darwin's theory, which is like incomplete. Srila Prabhupada mentioned that it's like bits and pieces from here and there, and then some speculation. So, but our scriptures give accurate detail and a lot more detail. Very impressive. So they are in charge of the administration of human population from the celestial abodes, heavenly planets, and for the establishment and protection of Vedic Dharma. So it's not like we just sprung up from somewhere. Lord had all the arrangements. So it was very systematic. And various other scriptures get into very minute details about this creation process also. So Lord Brahma was responsible, and he had his children, and from them, each would have his own task, and then to populate the planetary systems, this universe. And also, they were empowered. They had specific knowledge related to carry on this process. It was not haphazard, like So they would further educate people, and then they would further educate the rulers, the kings, so they can maintain the kingdom in a very systematic manner, Varna Ashrama system. So things were very systematic, very good. in mode of goodness in the beginning. So now in the present era is the reign of the seventh Manu, who is called Vaivasvat Manu, and is thus known as Vaivasvat Manvantar. So in the present Kalpa, day of Brahma, there will be seven more Manus. So in the celestial abodes, there are many devatas, demigods, who are discharging the function of administrating the universe. So they are like, we know Lord Indra. So when it comes to rain, and very essential for habitation on planets Earth and various other planets, rain is very essential for crops to grow and etc. So there are different demigods for different things. There is Lord Vayu, there is Lord Agni, and like that. So many other demigods. So in our universe, the four Kumaras, the eldest children of Lord Brahma, being the first to be born. So all these 25 great sages are known as the patriarchs of the living entities all over the universe. There are innumerable universes, and each universe there are innumerable planets, and each planet is populated with different varieties of living beings. So all the living beings populating the various planets descend from the above mentioned children of Lord Brahma. All of them are said to be born of these 25 patriarchs. So, and you must understand that this same process is happening not just in this universe, it's happening in every universe. Maybe there are different Brahmas depending on the population. Maybe there's some differences, but it's like we have information that there is our Brahma is like four-headed Brahma. There are Brahmas with many heads and many heads. So depending on the population and activities, um, but the process would be same. So so now before Lord Brahma could create anything in the universe, he had to undergo penance for 1000 years of the demigods. So for Lord Brahma, the source of this realization is that is how to create, populate this universe was the source of this realization was Lord Krishna. So in this way, all the Brahmanas and Kshatriyas are born of the energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Brahma is known as the Pitamaha, the grandfather, and Lord Krishna is known as the Prapitamaha, the father of the grandfather. So all these above mentioned great personalities are sons and grandsons of Lord Brahma, who in turn was born from Lord Vishnu, Garbhodakshay Vishnu. So Lord Garbhodakshay Vishnu is an expansion of Lord Krishna. So we know that from the navel of Lord Garbhodakshay Vishnu there was a lotus, and on that Lord Brahma was seated, and he in the very beginning he was very bewildered. Now, where have I come from? And then he did tapasya, and then he got the Lord gave him darshana in his heart and gave him the requisite knowledge and the process how he should go it, and then he meditated for 1000 years of the demigods. So hence Lord Krishna is the original father of all four fathers, Prapitamaha. So Lord Garbhodaksha Vishnu is an expansion of Lord Krishna. So so next shloka, the highest the highest summit of spiritual perfection is knowledge of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So we cannot work or do anything or achieve anything without knowledge. But generally, we are dealing with material knowledge related to material activities in this material world. And because of that, we are getting further enamored with this illusory potency, and we are further getting in ignorance away from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And for that, here it is said that highest summit of spiritual perfection is knowledge. When we say knowledge here for spiritual perfection, it is spiritual knowledge, which would help us detach from material living, material knowledge, material activities, and will attach us to spiritual activities because of having spiritual knowledge. And we will proceed in this, and we can achieve spiritual perfection if we continue in that. There's a process in Bhakti Yoga, ninefold process, 9 steps, starting with faith and then to prema. So like that, so knowledge of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the highest summit of spiritual perfection. Unless one is firmly convinced of the different opulences of the Supreme Lord, he cannot engage in devotional service. So in this, we will get to know some opulences of the Lord, that he has this, he's the most opulent, he's the source of all opulences. If anybody has to some extent, even minor opulence, any kind, like Lord Indra has strength and things like that. Lord Brahma has power to create. So like that, whatever, and then there are goddesses who are very beautiful. So like that, whatever, and then Kuvera, he has wealth. So like that, whatever opulence we see in this world is just a tiny, miny time, limited by time in this material world. But Lord Krishna is the source of everything, and his opulences are all spiritual and eternal. He never deteriorates in his opulences. He's all perfect. So here Lord Krishna is saying that anybody who knows about his opulences, he has no choice, and he has this knowledge, and he has He's firmly convinced of the different opulences of the Lord. He has knowledge about these. Then he has no choice but to engage in devotional service. Generally, people know that God is great, but they do not know in detail how God is great. So here, Lord is giving some details in this. So if one knows factually how God is great, then normally, naturally, he becomes a surrendered soul and engages himself in the devotion service of the Lord. So whether you like it or not, we are all serving to some extent somebody who's up in the hierarchy, or if it's a family man, he's serving his family, and if somebody is employed, he's serving his boss or the company. So like that, we are all serving, but this serving, this is like we are acting as a servant in this material world. But our real constitutional position is that we are eternally servant of the Supreme Personality of God, and that is the real service. That is devotional service, and once we serve in that, that is devotional service, and then we can achieve perfection in the devotional service, and and then like we will fully surrender. This is what Lord is saying. So so etam, all this vibhutim, opulence, um yogam, mystic power, and then cha also, right? And etam vibhutim yogam cha, one who understands this vibhuti of mind, that I am the source of all these opulences, qualities, um, mam of mind, yeah, anyone who veti knows tatvataha factually. So mam yo veti tatvataha, those who know this or understand this fact above, which is above mentioned fact, you know. So vikalpena yogena yujyate matra samshaya. They will come back to me. He avikalpena, without division, yogena, in devotional service. So vikalpena yogena. Vikalpena. Vikalpa means diversion, division, alternative. There is no other distraction of division in that case. One, if somebody knows about opulences of the Lord, yogena, in devotion service. Yoga means connection, and there are two types of um, sadhana. Sadhana is practice. We perform sadhana. There are two types by which we connect, and the Lord Krishna's mercy by which we get connected. The first yoga is etam vibhutim yogam, his power, revelation that facilitates connection. So he reveals his opulences, his power, and this facilitates in connecting, performing yoga, connecting with the Lord. Yoga can also refer to spiritual practice, which facilitates connection. We know various types of yoga. So ultimately, it's about spiritual practice, which facilitates connection. So Krishna is saying, so vikalpena yogena. So without any deviation, one will be wholeheartedly in yoga with me. Yujyate is engaged, na never. Atra here, samshaya, doubt. Yujyate natra samshaya. That he will be engaged in this yoga. Of this, there is no doubt. Because once a person understands Lord Krishna, that is, he understands that there is no reality beyond Lord Krishna. There is nothing beyond Lord Krishna, that Lord Krishna is the source of everything. He is the cause of all causes. He is the primeval Lord. He is the original cause. Then that person automatically surrenders wholeheartedly to Lord Krishna. So once you know who is at the top, and once you have this in your conscience, who is at the top, who is the source of everything, and you have this detail, you can't stop thinking about him. Like, everything is being done by Lord Krishna. Everything is because of Lord Krishna, and he's the source of everything. And we just now we heard that there are different demigods who are administering the system on this in this universe on different planets, and maintaining, and Lord Brahma is created. So like that, we know above them it's Lord Krishna. So then definitely in your heart you will have this feeling of surrender. Oh, Lord Krishna is so great. He is so opulent, and these are his opulence. And you will want to know more about him. And like that, you will proceed and progress, and you will surrender, and Lord will reciprocate. So because there is no distraction, there is no alternative, no deviation, and there is no doubt, even though we are in this material body, in this material world. But once we have this information, there is no apprehension that would keep him away from surrendering to Lord Krishna. But once you have that knowledge, you have this knowledge about opulences of the Lord, you have this in your conscious, then there is no alternative. You know this is perfect, and you are convinced, and then you will engage in the service of the Lord. You will surrender to Him, because the eternal constitutional position of Jiva, living entity, is that he is eternally servant of the Supreme Lord. So in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given this Jivera Swarupa Hayahin Krishna Nitya Dasa. So he is eternally servant of Lord Sri Krishna. His constitutional position is that he is eternally servant of Lord Sri Krishna. Because he has that requisite knowledge, so he surrenders without any hesitation. Rather, he surrenders wholeheartedly in bliss of that knowledge to Lord Krishna. This factual knowledge can be known from the description of Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad-gītā, and there is detail in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Various other scriptures glorify the Lord. Two emphasizing words, Natra Samshaya and Vikalpena. There is no doubt about it. There is no distraction or deviation from it. So this is so in 9.3 Bhagavad-gītā 9.3 Shloka 9.3, he says, by knowing him, one becomes free from sins. So we have this detail in the previous chapter we came across. But His Grace Chaitanya Charan Prabhu says that, but life's perfection is not freedom from sin. It's not just being free from sin. You just don't sit on that achievement. You proceed further. But it is spontaneous devotion to Lord Shri Krishna, which will happen after this, and which will happen. This is what this shloka gets into detail. So wholeheartedly we'll engage in devotional service. So when we understand that everything comes from Lord Krishna, including ourselves, living entities, everything, we fall in love with Lord Krishna. And when we talk about jnana, so when we say jnana, there is jnana doesn't, in some places you will come across this, is jnana doesn't lead to bhakti. Well, in that case, that jnana being used, that word is used for impersonal jnana. It is not knowledge or jnana related to bhakti. So that is impersonal jnana. This is personal jnana. This is related to the personality of Godhead and everything related to Him. It is very crucial, and we should have this knowledge about the personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna. But jnana about Lord Krishna increases bhakti. So it is very crucial, and it will help further bhakti. So when we come to know how great He is, how wonderful He is, when we know his magnificence and how merciful, compassionate He is, we know the system, the process. And just now we spoke about He has opulences that Lord Brahma is creating and demigods are maintaining. Everything is in systematic order. It's not haphazard. It's not by accident life came into existence. It was planned. And there is more detail in Srimad Bhagavatam. So that will naturally attract us towards Him. And Srila Prabhupada emphasized that one should not neglect this knowledge. So in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Leela 2.117, Siddhanta Baliya Chitte Na Kara Alasa. Iha Haite Krishne Lage Sudrida Manasa. A sincere student should not neglect the discussion of such conclusions, considering them controversial, and you can ignore just saying that this is so controversial. We should not ignore, we should not neglect, we should get further into it. For such discussions, strengthen the mind. So mind gets purified, and it strengthens the mind. So we can further, in steadfast manner, proceed in bhakti. So then, thus one's mind becomes attached to Lord Krishna, because this is our spiritual nature. We are eternally servant of Lord. So, and here, so there are few examples about knowledge, why knowledge, and how devotees and other living beings, what the challenges we face. So Lord, Jayapataka Swami Maharaj gets into detail, a very good example. So generally, when we are preaching, you come across people who actually are either oblivious about the power of mystical opulences or powers of mystical or power of Lord, and they are not convinced about it, and thus they don't engage in anala devotional service. So what prevents them from surrendering to Lord Krishna? So it's like either they don't know or they know something, but they are not fully convinced. So once you know the steps, how you can proceed, how you can better this, how you can proceed, so you will benefit from it. So Srila Prabhupada gives into detail how one should know about Krishna's relationship with people, devotees, and with the devatas. So we have this information. So we come across some instances like this mentioned. So these are challenges devotees face when they're preaching. So sometimes they say there are so many devatas, demigods, we can just worship anyone. It's all the same. But if you have this information, you know who to surrender, who is the top, who is Prapitama, who is the source of everything. So Bhagavad Gita gives these detail about Lord Krishna, and Lord Krishna says that he reciprocates according to how one worships. So if you worship demigods, you will get that benefit, and you will end up in the after material life. You will further get into higher planetary systems if you worship demigods, and you will. This is how it is, and slowly it will proceed. But if you directly take to Krishna consciousness, worshipping Lord Krishna, then Lord Krishna is saying that he reciprocates how one worships accordingly. So Lord Chaitanya says that when it comes to Siddhanta, which is related to understanding the conclusions of the scriptures, devotees should never be lazy or negligent. So Lord Chaitanya says that the devotee should be convinced about Lord Krishna's Krishna conscious philosophy. First, devotee should be convinced about Lord Krishna and his opulences, his qualities, etc. Only then they can convince others who are oblivious about facts, details about God, Lord Krishna. So here, this is a story which His Holiness Srila Jayapataka Guru Maharaj gives example. So, for example, devotees through other devotees or through the Guru or senior devotees, they get to know that there are various months, and there are some special months throughout in the year. So there are 3 months. So month of Magha or Madhava is especially recommended in India, that people should one offer flowers to Lord Krishna. Another thing they should do is they should take early morning bath, so, and along with various other services. So, how is that? There are other months, like there are special months of the month Damodara, most beautiful Lord, and so there are some restrictions devotees follow, and that special diet they follow, and they take more chanting. So, like that, they can benefit and progress in bhakti. So, if they have this knowledge, so in the month of Vishaka, there is Narasimha Chaturdashi, and we can do Chandan Yatra. Um, Very auspicious. So devotees benefit manifold if they dance before the Lord during that time. Giving charity in the name of Lord and various other worships for the Lord are also recommended. So there are some people who are normally they don't take devotional service. They are busy throughout work and all that, and they don't get up early in the morning for Mangal Arati. They don't take early morning bath. But the devotees are doing these things every day. But if you know this information, so if you take a hot water bath early in the morning 6 times, is it's more valuable than a normal bath than other months. If you take a cold bath in the morning, it is 12 times more beneficial. And if you take a bath in a pond in India, taking a bath in a pond is so cold during winter season, and then it is 100 times more beneficial. And if it is the confluence or bay or some great river where there many rivers are meeting, then it is, for example, two great rivers are meeting, then it is 400 times. The Ganges is in taking bath in Ganges is 1,000 times, and if it is the month, and it is the month of Maga, it is 100,000 times. So, like that, if you have this knowledge, it's easy to progress. So, knowledge about Lord and the things He has mentioned in the scriptures, His devotees are glorifying. This is all coming from scriptures. This is how you can benefit manifold. So, if it is this month, it is 100,000 times like that. But the devotees are doing this every day. So the purpose here is that we can please the Lord, and that can be the impetus. So people who would otherwise not do it, they can, if they have this information, they can take benefit, and this can be impetus for them to continue benefit from it, and then they can continue this further. So like that. So there is a story. There was a king who offered a champa flower to the Lord during the month of Maga. So otherwise, this king was a very tyrant ruler, and last thing he ever did was to offer a flower to the Lord. Normally, it is the king's duty to protect his citizens, but this king was very impious. He was very sinful. He was misusing his position instead of using the funds for the progress of for the benefit of his citizens, for his kingdom, protecting his subjects. He was exploiting those funds. He was misusing the treasure, the funds of the government. Um, so, so he was stealing the money. So in the Vedic time, the king is not a dictator, but the king is actually an institution, and he has certain spiritual, social responsibilities. So this was not being followed by this king. He was more like a dictator. So he was using his money for all his sinful agenda activities. So then the people in that country, kingdom, were very unhappy, and a group of citizens became revolutionaries and warriors, and they were trying to overthrow the king. So the king was very well protected by his army, right? So one day the king went without protection to the city where he had a girlfriend, and when the so he didn't tell anybody about it, and he went to see her in a garden house. and she met him there. So they were there together, but they were sitting and discussing, and suddenly one flower from the champa tree fell. So it's a champa is a tropical flower, very fragrant, full of very rich in aroma. So it is one of the favorite flowers of Lord Krishna, champa flower, and one of the gopis offers this to Lord Krishna, this champa flower. So the so this flower was falling from the tree, and while it was falling, the king had looked at it, glanced at it, and the king immediately said, "Udai Pushpa Narayana Namo." Oh, flower flying in the air, I offer you to Lord Narayana. So it's before it touches the ground, he did that. He said that, and um, so so his intention would be like he was maybe very casually he did that. Um, Maybe he was joking, but he did that. So, and it was in this month of Maga. Um, so he said that I offer Lord Narayana, I offer you this flower at that moment. Um, so this while he was with that girlfriend, with that lady, these revolutionaries found him and they killed him. Um, and they shot arrow and they killed him. So they were happy that the king is tyrant king is dead. So suddenly the Yamadutas, it's time for the Yamadutas to take the sinful person and they would punish him in their Yamaloka, various abodes, different kinds of punishment. But before they could actually catch hold of him, these Vishnu Dutas were already there and they were taking him to Lord's abode. And they inquired from him, "Hey, this person is very sinful. Why are you taking him? He needs to be punished. Um, he belongs to us. He's a sinner." So they explain, um, you know, he was cheating. So they said that he was cheating. He was taking funds of people. He was lying in the court and all kinds of sinful activities he was doing. So he's a great sinner. But they said that. But the last thing he said before he died was Narayana, and he offered the Lord his favorite flower in the month of Magha. So he's coming with us. He's going to Vaikuntha Loka. So and they took him to Vaikuntha Loka, to Lord's abode. And so we're there. He paid his obeisances to Lord Narayana. Lord Narayana, embraced him in his with his open arms. He welcomed him. My dear devotee, he said, "I'm not your devotee. I'm not a good devotee. I have committed so many offenses and sins." No, you are my. He said, Lord Narayana said that you are my great devotee because you chanted my name at the last time before he died, and not only that, you offered me my favorite champa flower in the month of Magha. And because you offered me this, my favorite flower during the month of Magha, anyone who offers me this champa flower in the month of Magha, he comes to me. He's very dear to me. So then the king, the soul of the sinful king, realized that the Lord is so merciful, he's so compassionate, and he would be very foolish not to take shelter, and he decided to take up another devotional service. So this is the rare case of not that everybody gets this opportunity, but this is a rare case of Lord Narayana picking him and embracing a person. So here the idea is that if we offer little service to Lord Krishna, he's very grateful. But like we said, you have to have knowledge about this, how the things you can perform, and then you can benefit so many fold, many times. So like that. Um, so this is how it is. Once somebody knows about power, once somebody has knowledge about Lord, and once he knows about his opulence, his mystic powers, then there are no. Then with that knowledge, he will surrender to Lord Krishna and perform pure devotional service. So this is Srila Prabhupada has emphasized. The scriptures emphasize we have to have knowledge about Lord. We should read Srimad Bhagavad-gītā and Srimad Bhagavatam and many other scriptures like Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, and we can benefit manifold from this. So, and then you give knowledge about Lord Krishna to others, then also you can benefit manifold, because Lord is very pleased when you do this preaching activity and make others also devotee. So this is how it is. So this chapter gets into these details. the genealogical system in place with Lord Brahma being Pitama and Lord Krishna being Prapitama, and how the system works. And then we will get further into detail, performing devotional service, knowing about opulences, and then Lord gets into more detail about this in the next shloka. So I request you all to continue to join tomorrow and take benefit of this thing. So Hare Krishna, thank you all. Prabhuji Mataji, thanks for joining. I'm sorry, I think kind of took more time. Sorry for that. Please continue to join again tomorrow. Hare Krishna. Thank you, everyone. Done with pranams.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Dandavat pranam.
Hare Krishna, everyone. So, okay, Hare Krishna. Thank you, everyone. I'll just log off.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Dandavat pranam. Hare
Thank you.
Krishna.
Done with pranams, everyone.